Yeah, the Sammy Local podcast number 120. I'm your host, Sammy Local. I'm here with, go and introduce yourself.
Hello, guys, gals, non-binary piles. It is I, Brendan Tillman, also known as Prince Mac, rapper or MC, and your mama's favorite local producer out of Baltimore, Maryland, representing myself, representing my village, representing Beats Not Bullets, and I guess due to affiliation, representing Down by Law.
All right, so let's talk about your your mama's favorite MC. Where did that come from?
Uh, it's just something that I like to say to kind of like ease into certain things because I know like certain visions of hip hop is you got to be like hard or you got to be gangster. I'm the first one to tell you that's not me. I like to have fun. Peace, love, unity, having fun. The four principles of hip hop. And I just feel like if I like break the ice with your mama's favorite local MC, that'll get a few laughs, chuckles, and what have you. And I just like to keep the ball rolling and keep everybody having fun.
Does it have something to do with being the baby face of hip hop, or because it all matches up with Prince? So I'm gonna get into your name later on, but I want to know, like, does it make you a safe rapper? Does it make it safe for you to be around parents, etc.?
I wouldn't say necessarily a safe rapper, because I do drop some profanity every once in a while, but it doesn't get too off rip. Like I'd say it's perfect for teenagers, children. Sometimes it depends on how strict your upbringing is, but for the most part, nothing I've said has ever been all that raunchy or anything like that. I just border between braggadocious and conscious.
Gotcha. So let's go with the name Prince Mac. Where did that come from? Is it a childhood name or what's it
Okay, so
about?
the name Prince Matt. So let me not rip off Jay-Z when I say this, but my mom named me Brendan because it was her right when I was born to her, right? No, but yeah, my mom named me Brendan, and Brendan actually means prince, and Mac is a shortened version of McIntyre, which is my dad's last name.
Wow.
So I just took it. It's my name, but it's not my name, but it's my name.
Hey, I did not know that. Um, that's wild. So tell me how you got into hip hop, and it seemed like you're pretty much of a historian to the hip hop game, and being young on top of it. So tell me how that, like, your first introduction into hip hop.
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie, my first introduction to hip hop, I wasn't like that big of a fan due to the fact that I was still in my youngin Disney kind of era. So when I was finding my own music, I was finding stuff like alternative rock and metal and stuff like that. And then like everyone like seemed to really have this admiration for Drake, which caused me not to be able to stand him at all. And I don't know why, I just didn't seem to like him. So I would freestyle because me not being all that in tune with hip hop culture at the time, I thought all the songs were freestyled. I didn't think they were written. So I would
Hmm.
just try my best to just freestyle and go off the top of the dome and be like, hey, I'm better than Drake at that young mindset of mine. So I would just like keep going off the top. And people would be like, wow, he really is better. So then when people were like, you actually have a talent or an affinity for this type of thing, I started to write just jokingly. But the summer of 2018, I went to the Beats Not Bullets program and I was listening to more and more hip hop at the time. Because if you're going to be involved in something, you should study up and do the knowledge. But I still wouldn't say that I was a rapper then. It was going to the Beats Not Bullets program after I lost my grandmother. I
Sorry
was
to hear that.
writing, yeah, I was writing as a form of therapy, like just to get things out. And I
Hmm.
just kept writing and kept writing. Not enough to put out a coherent song per se, but just enough to like hit certain bullet points and know what was on my heart and what was on my mind and what I needed to say. And then and going to the Beast Not Bullets program and being with like-minded individuals and like when I kept on writing, I eventually was able to put songs together because they taught classes like that in Beats Not Bullets. Then I just got better at it.
Okay. So speaking of beats, not bullets, especially the concert that me and you met up at, like how did you get introduced to them? Like you just seen on a flyer and then you just said, hey, I gotta go here. This might be something for me, or what's your story behind beats, not bullets?
My mom brought it to my attention. I don't quite remember where she saw it. I think it was online or on a post on social media or something. But she brought it to my attention. And at the time, I wasn't really trying to talk to nobody or anything like that. So I wasn't gung ho to go at first. But I was like, we'll give it a try. And my attitude towards it went from, okay, I'm here to, okay, this is cool to, okay, I kind of want to come back and I'm looking forward to it and I want to keep going and pursue this. And yeah, so my mom put me onto it. And then when I showed up, it kind of just kept me engaged and got me to open back up where though I wasn't talking before.
So having music being your therapeutic outlet, how does like put yourself, well, you can pretty much tell the kids out here today, how does that help, like especially summertime where kids have a lot of idle time, like how did that help you, like besides talking to everybody, how does it how else did it help you with, like what else help with?
It helped me open up, especially back then, because so when my grandmother passed away, that was in late 2017. So this is just months and months of me not wanting to talk to nobody, not wanting to open up. Like I wouldn't say mute, but like I didn't want to talk. If you asked me a question, if it was a yes or a no, I would shake my head. If it was anything else, like you'd have to really poke and prod at me to get me to say something. And after you got me to say something, I would typically retreat because I was upset. I didn't want to talk and I felt as though I was being forced. So, and finding something that was interesting enough to keep my attention and to grab me and to be taught how to do it, I suppose that just brought me out of my shell,
Mm.
per se.
So during this program beats not bullets, was it any other time, well during that time, was there any time that you was like your most frustrating part about just making music, or just period about making music?
Uh, I would say one of the frustrating things was just not knowing what I was doing at first, but that comes with everything. So I guess that was just me being temperamental at the moment. I don't think I had a frustrating part when it came to music. Uh, except for like people's love for the mediocre. But like on a personal level, no, nothing really.
Okay, so with you, I get in the gist of everything. You like rappers that have like a deeper meaning when they're rapping. You don't like the I don't want to call out anybody, but let's use sexy red type shit. Like it doesn't take too much brain power to make those type of songs.
Precisely. That's not to say that there's never a time to like take it easy and relax because everybody needs a song to make them feel good or whatever. I'm just saying certain things just don't impress me. And I'm not trying to sound like, oh, the God Almighty of hip hop type stuff or like a critic, because I'm not. I'm just a consumer and a producer like most other people or like some other people. It's just I don't really have a taste for certain things. And that's one of the things I don't really have a taste for.
Gotcha. Getting into your music catalog, I see, of course, the outspoken words. I want to get into the instrumental. Like a lot of rappers I know will not ever put out a whole like their music and put out their instrumentals. Only one I do know that did that was MF Doom. But what made you want to think like I want to put out an instrumental and then I want to put out the songs that go with the instrumental separately?
Uh, well, the instrumentals came out a minute after the actual album, and
Hmm.
it was just me knowing how music works and knowing that if you're not present, it'll just pass you by. So I knew I had something because I produced all of the album with the exception of the message. The message was produced by one of the goats in Baltimore hip hop production, in my opinion, Mr. 7G Boomin.
Hmm.
He's doing his thing with everything, like when it comes to boom bap, trap, Afro beats, house. Dude can pretty much do it all, and he can fuse them if necessary. But I produced all of the tracks on the album with the exception of the message, so I felt like it's not like I'm not in a position to do so because all of these, except for the message, is mine. And if I just do right by 7G Boomin, give him his credits, and so on and so forth, and I just put the rest out, it shouldn't be an issue, and I would still be present because I had something to release.
Does 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 it scare you that somebody can use your beat? Of course, you can sue them. Of course, I know that. That's the only part I do know about people taking somebody else's beats. But does it scare you that somebody can use it uh, and potentially make a bad song or make a good song?
I mean, if you can take my beat and make a better song, good on you, brother. And at the same time, you did touch on the fact that I can sue. Like that is my intellectual property. But yeah, so so in my mind, it's you can make a good song. If I'm touched by it, then I'm just touched by it and it is what it is. You make a bad song and you use my stuff and I don't know about it or I didn't give consent and we're not cool or anything like that, then I can just take legal action.
Mm. Going into producing, was that I always ask people that do both. What was first for you? Was it producing or was it music?
What was first was writing and then rapping. But I soon learned what production was and what it was about. And beats cost money,
Yeah.
and I ain't want to pay nobody.
Mm,
So it was just like I got to learn how to do this so that I don't have to go out of pocket and I have more for my budget, so I can take the money I would use to buy a beat and I can use that to go to the studio, or I can use that to get this pressed up or get CDs made, this, that, and the third.
mm.
And that's pretty much how I leveraged it.
Wow. So what about your music? Like, who was your favorite music artist growing up then?
When it comes to hip hop or just in general,
Let's say just in general, because you said you was listening to alternative music.
I was listening to a lot of different genres, a lot of different rock subgenres. Like I was a Cell Dweller fan, a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan, a Foo Fighters fan. But the first hip hop beats I fell in love with were the Worst Comes to Worst, Dilated People's instrumental,
Hmm.
and the Message by Nas instrumental. And then Nas was kind of the first hip hop artist that I kind of just followed and fell into the rabbit hole with.
Was you a fan of him saying hip hop was dead, or you was just in agreement?
Uh, I came onto that album, like I said, later.
Hmm.
So I kind of did agree with the sentiment only because of what was in the airwaves at the time, and I kind of repeated it. And a teacher of mine was kind of like, your vision or most purest vision of hip hop is dead, but hip hop as a culture is very much still alive and kicking. And
Mm.
it kind of made me have to sit back and go, he's absolutely right. But I don't know if that really answered the question, but that
No,
was
no, it did,
kind
it
of
did. Yep, definitely
okay.
did. Definitely did. Speaking of outspoken words, I don't know how you would take this, but I when I hear you rap, I hear a lot of influences. One that comes to my mind, and like I said, I don't know if you agree with this, but XXXTentacion. I feel like you have some of his spirit with you. Am I right or am I wrong on that front?
Um, I wasn't an X fan.
Mm,
However, I can appreciate his message, especially like later on in his life when he tried to like flip and become, a better person and tried to make positive waves. But a lot of people actually say I sound like X, like my voice,
Yeah,
which is why I had that reaction. Because a lot of people say I sound like him. The two comparisons I get is Big L and XXXTentacion.
damn. I did not. Yeah, they're absolutely right. They're right.
Yeah.
I was just so focused on X, but they're absolutely right about that.
Strike men quicker than lightning.
Yes, yes. Uh, Going on to outspoken words. What was your favorite song doing on the song on your album?
My favorite songs from Outspoken Word. Uh, when I first released it, it would probably be 85 bars,
Hmm.
despite the fact that it's probably not 85 bars altogether. I just leveraged out. So this is where the beat stops. This is where the beat ends. I looked at the time measure. It was at measure 85. So I just did it that way. Um, I will say now it's probably either Say It Ain't So or The Message.
Mm. Not Wake Up 410?
Nah, funny enough, I was the youngest. I wrote that at 16, and family members were like, you, and I only recorded half of it, and then I recorded half at the other half at 18. So I recorded half of it, didn't get it finished, and then didn't get to record the rest of it until I was 18, like straight down the middle. So family members, while they heard the first half, were like, you need to get that recorded and put it out because that'll be a hit, especially right now. But the problem was there's a lot of other stuff like school, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So I just either didn't have the time or the right lyrics just weren't hitting me. And I guess the time passed, but it fit with the album, so I put it there.
Speaking of family members, who was the first person that told you you can do it?
First one told me I could do it.
Hmm.
My mama.
And
My mama.
was it a song or was it was just her seeing you on stage? Like what made her say you can do it?
It was what well, my mom has always supported me no matter what. But I would say it was probably the like breathing the toxins, the first one,
Hmm.
because that was the first song that I was able to successfully put together, like with the lyrics and everything, to like sound like it could be a song, like a really decent, tangible song. And that was the first thing after the program. So this is my mom hearing me express myself to the fullest extent for the first time in months, almost a year. So she's always been supportive, but I feel like with breathing the toxins, she was like, "Yeah, you can do this, but you have to take it seriously."
Hmm. Ain't nothing like a mother's support. So I
Nothing like a
definitely
mother's support.
nothing like it. Um, Also seeing you on stage and stuff like that, as far as Beats Not Bullets. I remember you telling me you did it twice before. Uh, what is the easiest thing to do on stage, and what is the hardest thing to do on stage?
The hardest thing to do on stage is be on stage, and the easiest thing is get through it. If that makes any sense. And what I mean by that is, I still have I still have nerves when I go on stage. I mean, you probably couldn't tell, but I'm nervous every time. And when I was on stage this time, everyone's face was blurry. I could not recognize a single face. Like I knew exactly where my parents were, where my cousin was. I knew where they were, but if you told me to look at them and rap, their faces would have been completely blurry. I wouldn't have seen anything. Like, yeah.
I guess that's a
So
good thing. I guess that's a good thing too, to be honest with you, because then you don't have to focus on one person. Like if it was somebody famous out in the crowd, like then you'll be probably like, oh, you probably get shook up probably. You never know,
yeah,
but I think that'll probably be good. Based on how I seen everybody's performances and everybody did a great job there. It's just it was uh different vibes for everybody that's come up there, which was great. Um Speaking of that, what makes you continue to make music? Like what drives you to keep making like music and just hopefully potentially getting somebody that's out there that's your age to say, "Oh, I can do it too." That's two questions, but yeah.
that the fact that it could inspire someone else to say, "Oh, I could do this." Because if you asked me a while ago, I wouldn't have said I would be able to do it. Like I'm an outgoing person, but at the same time, like I get nerves every single time. So I take everything seriously, like, and it means the world to me. Like I could mess up and no one notice it, but I would notice it and it would bother me like to the depths of my soul. But just to know that someone else could see it and go, "Oh, I could do this too," because I'm not Mr. Superstar or anything in my head. I know who I am. I'm just Brendan in my mind at least. So as someone, if someone is down to earth as me, or someone who is conscious of his abilities and his performance skills as me could inspire someone else to get on stage and feel like, hey, I can do this. I can make a song. I can produce a song. I can perform in front of people. Then that's one of the most powerful things in the world. And I feel like if I can do that, why not?
Mm, that's powerful. Uh, how about have you ever produced for anybody else besides, let's say, have you produced for anybody you don't know? I think it's easier to produce for somebody you do know, but have you ever produced for somebody you don't know?
I have not produced for anyone I do not know. I haven't really produced for anyone. I did gift Skills Mega with a beat. I don't know if he'll use it. He may, he may not. But I did gift Skills Mega with a beat. A couple days ago, actually.
Okay, speaking of
And
the, oh no, go ahead, continue, go ahead.
I was gonna say he also returned the favor for me.
Mm.
So
Speaking of these skills, how did you get acquainted and how you get to be down with DLP? I'm DBL,
so
sorry.
with Skills, I think our first interaction was a year ago at the MC Bravado concert at the Metro. But or at least I know that's where we both were. The lines of where we met kind of get crossed because I don't remember, but I do remember how I got to become friendly with him is, you know, Slick Vic Low, Lyrical Leviathan, uh, Slangston Hughes.
No,
So,
sorry about
okay,
that.
that's the spitter right there. But basically he had a project coming up and it's out now. But I was on a bonus track and we recorded everything at Skills' studio. So, and me being at Skills' studio, we just got to like vibe, hang out, and talk hip hop and just talk in general. And that's how I got up with Skills and became like real good with Skills. And I just brought it up in conversation once, like, what if I was a DBL affiliate or could I be a DBL affiliate? He was like, you could definitely be affiliated. And yeah, that's pretty much how that happened.
Oh, okay.
But
So,
what I will say, my bad.
no, you good.
I was just gonna say what I will say about Skills is that man is like dope producer, dope lyricist, even better friend. Like definitely there when you need him, and definitely great when it comes to advice. Like if I have a question or I don't know what way to go with a certain thing, I know he's one of the people I can go to, and he'll give me his best input or advice.
What's his best advice he gave to you?
Uh, I've soaked in a lot as of late. I know I'm having an issue with sample clearance right now. And he actually told me he was speaking with someone about a certain sample. I'm not going to try to dig too deep in there or try to like expose what he's got going on.
Hmm.
But I know he said that there are certain avenues I can go to try to avoid the legal route. One being to obviously get it cleared, and other things I will not reveal on here.
Well, let's say non-music. What kind of advice he gave you then?
I don't think I've gone to him for any personal advice yet, but I would.
Mm, gotcha. Um, I had one question about saying so.
Mhm.
So, what was your mind frame going into that song? Because I think it's like I won't say like to me it's deep. I let other people hear it. They say, "Oh no, he's just flowing." Like, how do you? What was your mindset in going into that song?
My mindset going into the song was other people have spoken on it, so I obviously wouldn't be the first. But this was going off of hearing One Love by Nas and hearing Peace of Mind by Joey Badass, which was actually his ode to One Love by Nas. So me hearing Peace of Mind, it was kind of like Nas inspired Joey Badass. Joey Badass kind of inspired me, even though they were touching on jail and the penal system. I was touching on something that was very real to me, which was the school shooting situations. Because despite not being involved in it or not knowing anyone that was touched by it, it's still something that happens, and it's still something that happens in my generation per se. So one day I'm sitting in school when I start writing it. Like I'm sitting in science, I believe biology. I finish my work early, so I take out my phone. The first thing I write, say it ain't so. Looking at the news from my laptop, kids spraying lead until half of the class drops, stages of depression in this game of adolescence. I wrote from the start all the way down to the brother getting shot.
Mm.
I wrote all of that in that first setting, and the rest kind of just followed after.
Yeah, because for me that's very serious. Let's say you had a kid and they was going to school, or we just had a situation in Baltimore at the I forgot what field that is, football field situation where a 12-year-old got shot in the back. This type of stuff happens every day in Baltimore, but people just look at it and just move on. So that's why I said this whole album is like it needs to be pushed because I think it will definitely help all the little teenagers out here because it's nothing to do for them. It's nothing, no recreations. It's nothing like beats not bullets. Yeah, you have that, but it needs to be more people doing that type of stuff. No shooting zones. You already know about that. I know about that.
No shoot zones. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah,
like it's tough out here, and people are just need this type of music more often to say, okay, this is not just something people talk about. This is not Chirac. This is not New Orleans. So that's why I said like Wake Up 410 and Saying So is my favorites. I know you was talking about the message, which is good too. But all the songs is pretty much a vibe of what you deal with every day. Do you think that for you personally, do you think that you have like I know you said you got nerves, but is it paranoia when you go outside or something like that?
uh, it depends on the area.
Yeah. Yeah.
It definitely depends on the area. Like right now, I, I don't feel any paranoia when I go outside. But there was a time period where I lived in the heart of Park Heights, and I wasn't allowed to go outside for years. So,
I have an
yeah.
idea which street you're talking about, and I think it might be Shirley Ave. Am I correct?
I was on Queens
Okay. All
off
right.
Belvedere.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Belvedere. Yeah, that's wild. Right there by the Pinnacle racetrack, correct? Or going down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Say no
I had
more.
to go, had to catch the bus to get. I went to Woodlawn ninth grade, so I had to catch the bus. So every morning you getting up and like you gotta keep a eye over your shoulder, or if you coming home at night, like say I was at the library till like 7, 8, 9. That means I'm getting home after dark. So a little pep in your step on the way home.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
yeah, it's no joke. It's definitely not. But people need to hear that type of stuff because everybody likes to make, the little jokes about the avenue, you and all how we speak and stuff, but it's other real stuff going on out here. Um, Also let's talk about lyrical aggression. I like the mixing, I like what you were saying on there. Uh I forgot the producer name. God damn.
God since beats Tisla the Great.
I'm truly sorry if he listening. I'm truly sorry if I not remember your name. But how did you feel making that song? Like, did it take a long time, or did you just say, "All right, let me
uh,
just go at it"?
It's actually one of my shorter writing processes. However, I will go back and tweak a bunch of things until I feel like it is absolutely perfect, or I feel like I've reached the summit of what I can do. I won't say perfect, it's nothing perfect. So I'll say it was a shorter writing process, but at the same time, I felt the pressure on this one because I felt like I had to go in. And that's one thing, if I'm on someone else's beat, I feel like like this is produced by someone else. This beat is someone else's baby.
Mm.
And if you got like I can't put something whack on someone else's baby because that's just like it's almost taking advantage of someone else's creative genius because God since was able to bless me with one of these beats, and I felt like I had to knock it out of the park. So, and I feel like I did so. Everyone who's heard it said they liked it. One of the ladies in the crowd said that was her favorite performance, and that like meant the world to me. Like I was like, wow. So, yeah, I just felt like with that particular song and with that beat because it wasn't mine. Same with like the message. I felt like I had to knock it out of the park.
Now, when you're producing, do you think, okay, one day I'm going to, let's say, produce a rock song or alternative rock, stuff that you like to listen to? Do you think that you can actually pull off a rock album? We have seen plenty of rappers do it before, but I'm just curious because some people always want to, some people get bored with the rapping. Some people want to say, I want to do reggae. Some people say, I want to do soca. I want to see if you think you can possibly do that one day.
Alternative rock specifically, maybe, but I know that's something I couldn't do solo because I can't actually play instruments. My production is just me finding patterns and doing what I need to do to get it out. So I know that's something I would need help with, and I know a few people who would be able to help me. Shouts out Mike Bob, uh, Mike. Oh, I'm sorry, Mikey or Michael Boblets, my homie who plays guitar, and I know I can work a drum pad pretty well myself. So if I needed to, I do have the assets to do so. I haven't really thought about doing it seriously. I could probably do some things for fun. Uh, nah, I think that's all I got on the subject. Yeah,
Do you think you can do the lead vocal on that situation or no?
lead vocal. Probably a lot of my friends say when it comes to singing, which if I sing in front of you, consider yourself blessed because I'm kind of shy in that regard. A lot of my friends say my voice is kind of tailored towards alternative rock. However, my mom has always said that I have the potential. My mom has always said I had the potential to be somewhat of a male Lauren Hill, which is no pressure there, mom. Thank you. Thank you for male Lauren of all the people you could have said. Like that doesn't put a huge weight on my back or anything. But if I can reach it, I'll try and like I'll try to slowly step out of my shell, maybe sing, prove that, there's nothing that can mentally hold me back. Because once I get over the mental block when it comes to singing, I feel like I'll be able to do pretty much anything. But
Have
yeah,
you
singing is always
so singing down the line, we're looking at
maybe.
potentially that maybe. Um, so with all these things, do writer's block come into the fold of things?
I got writer's block right now, brother man. I got it right now. Like sometimes I'll try to freestyle, see if it'll fit the subject at hand when it comes to the song. But I have writer's block right now.
And I ask this all the time to a lot of rappers, how do you get over that?
I either try to push through it or I just let it rest until something hits me because one of my mentors said don't like try to rush or push the pen. Like sometimes you have to let it breathe and come back and write your 4 bars or write your 2 bars if it's hard enough and then just let it come organically.
Mm, okay. What we looking at for the future? the future of Prince Mac? Like as far as uh shows, as far as albums go, what is the future looking like for you?
Shows, not quite sure. I'm actually working on writing and producing, not solo producing, but mostly like producing most of it. I'm actually working on writing and producing an album as we speak.
Mm. What about the titles? Like the titles that come about, like what what effect it has on you? Like outspoken word, we can well, let me speak for myself there. I can see why you would name it that, but how does titles come into the fold of things? Do you do it before the album or during the album or after the album is completed?
Outspoken words came, I believe, after I had all the album done, either after or towards the dead end of it. And it came from when I first started rapping, people saying that it sounded like spoken word poetry. And I knew I had touched on some conscious and some political topics. So it was me as a young teenager or 18. It was me as a teenager in Baltimore being outspoken with my words, but it was also a play on people saying that my rapping style sounded like spoken word. So I kind of put it all together and got outspoken words out of it. Also, if I can give a quick shout out to my homegirl Kim, she the one that drew the little cartoon, me looking at the book on the cover. So yeah.
Uh, what else? As far as like collabs, uh, do you think that you have one down the line, or you have a person you would like to collab with, but it's like not right now, maybe the future type thing?
Collabs as in on my projects or on someone else's.
Uh, let's say for your project, you have an album you're
Okay.
working on,
Yeah.
they come through.
I got a few. I got a song with my homeboy Andre Tates. I got another song with the homie Tom Revis, who's actually engineering, mixing, and mastering this album.
Mm,
With the exception of the song, with the exception of the songs Roe v. Wade and Lyrical Aggression that was produced by DJ. I mean, that was engineered, mixed and mastered by Moose Jaw, DJ Moose Jaw.
mm, okay. So wrapping up, pretty much tell everybody where they can find you, uh, how they can get in contact with you for music or questions or whatever the case may be, DMs. How can they reach you?
Where so I told myself I would never create a TikTok, but it's a good way to get beats out there. Like that's what I mostly do on TikTok is produce beats. Actually, the song Joe Mama, which a lot of people still don't believe is mine, is probably my most popular song, unfortunately, because it was just a joke. It came from an inside joke with my friends, and they were like, "You should release it, release it, release it." I was like, "I'm not about to release this song with my voice pitched up like a chipmunk with this beat behind it, because I want to be taken seriously." And
Yeah.
then eventually, because they're spoiled, I released it, and the way I looked at it was, say I don't have the lyrical acumen, we can test that. I'll just prove you wrong. And so that's kind of where that came from. But back to your question, so TikTok, uh, again, I'm barely on there. So if you just do my government name, Brendan Tillman, BrendenTillman. Facebook is Brendan Tillman. Instagram is Prince underscore Mac MAC 125. And that's how ladies and gents, especially the ladies, can get a hold of little old
And that's a wrap for podcast 120. I'm your host, Sammy Loco, and we're out.